alarming, and of course it is. But I think the approach played was first class against Liverpool, and the way they took Liverpool to task. We know they're top of the table. We know the quality of their team. There's not many teams that can do that. The killer instinct, Stuart Pearce said it in the commentary, that killer finish, is where they need to change, and there needs to be that kind of nastiness in front of goal. If we look back to someone, well,
is an oversight. Arteta has to be judged by the opportunity to win leagues now, because that's the space he's put him in. He spent 200 or 500 million pounds over the last 2 or 3 seasons, which is a hugely significant amount of money, and it's almost
spent nearly £1 billion on Chelsea reject. William, David Luiz.
And there's no argument that they don't have it.
We can
Havertz.
But they're not doing it now.
Bag of farts. Michael T. Freestyle season, like and subscribe. Your comments below.
And so have other sides around them that are challenging for it. And this is
soon be streaming in a couple more months.
Arsenal.
Well, I mean,
line up,
what was it, 9 goals against Chelsea? Yeah, so you know that he was prolific. Jesus was played out on the wing, so it was always going to be like a collective goals coming in from Arsenal, and they're all down at the moment. Everyone is down on their contribution. What I would have looked at, we're in match day 21, by the way, so we're all on a winter break, would you believe? And we've only got two Premier League games this Saturday, so there's a bit of a break there, and Arsenal have been on that break, and they've been training warm weather, training away. I would have thought that was a moment to reset, to come back, to put the building blocks back in, to put the messages back in.
Answer my question,
I'm telling you what they've been doing the last number of days to get that belief. Yes, but they needed to go away, Jim.
Are they in the race to win the title or not?
They're still in the race, 100%.
Right, okay. Do you think they'll win the league?
No.
I didn't think they'd win at the start of the table.
No,
so I'm not saying anything differently here. But
if
you follow me closely,
I do follow you closely. It's why I get an opportunity to be able to discredit
Man City. I said at the start of the season, win it.
The point is, they were top of the table on Christmas Day, Mark. They're 5 points adrift now of Liverpool. So
massively disappointing.
You have to think. I mean, I asked you a question that's maybe a bit unfair. The wheels coming off. The wheels aren't really
off. I mean, finished 8th back to back on bottle top.
Jimmy, you get knocked down, you get up again. This is about winning. You look back, and you look back over the teams that have been successful. Yeah, you learn a lot about the group when things aren't going so well. So what I'm talking about now is reinforcing the belief, regaining the confidence, putting the building blocks back in again. Now I'm sure the messages would have been coming loud and clear when they were away and this training camp they've been on. They'll come back ready to go.
Do you think they'll win the Champions League?
No, I don't think they'll win the Champions League, but I think they're going to go a distance.
Do you think the owners think spending £250 million to at very best, which I don't think they'll do, stand still, is a good look?
I think there's a credit in standing still right now in the Premier League in terms of making it into the top 4. Okay. I think if you look at the competition now with Spurs re-emerging, Villa starting, Emery's done an exceptional job. They're in new territory though. You could say that they're where Arsenal were. You could say recently that Villa have fallen off a cliff a little bit because they weren't, used to the sort of expectations that come with playing there. The Arsenal players know that a little bit now. They've just fallen from a really good level.
But you accept that they're not good enough.
They're not good enough right now, and so but they're not out of the race. The fight is not over.
They're not out of the race, man. Which begs this question.
No, they're not really.
They can still almost touch Liverpool. Should it be, in your view, Ivan Toney to the rescue?
No, I think that shoves the narrative. Because he's not going anywhere, Jim. If you look at his own situation, there's injury issues. Wisa and Mbuemo are injured at Brentford. Okay, that's a separate story.
Okay, and Arsenal pays £1 million for him.
Yeah, but
He'll be gone.
We said Smith Rowe might be going somewhere else. Maybe they're out now, starting to actually try and accommodate that and trying to get the monies in.
But is it? I think probably about 80 million. Is it not clear to you though? And I think it's not an attack on Mikel Arteta, because I'm a huge admirer of a lot of the things that he's done. Some of it not. Most of it I am, right? Because I think he's brought life back into Arsenal, re-energised the football club, and I've seen it a couple of times for myself. But do you not think it's a huge oversight for somebody to spend £200 million in the transfer window this summer and to have not fixed an element, which is clearly evident that other clubs that they're rivaling have fixed a formidable forward line, and one that can get one goal scorer, 25 goals a season? It's evident in Manchester City, it's evident in Liverpool, but it doesn't see, and of course the lack of a goal scorer at Chelsea compounds the issue for Chelsea. Do you not think that's
spent £100 million plus on one player to play in midfield? Now, can you argue with me that you've seen many better Declan Rices this season?
But that's what about.
No, you're not talking. It's not fitting your argument.
That's what about.
So what they've done, they secured the midfield.
No, they
Yeah,
haven't.
They didn't have two set.
Their midfield's got holes in there, bro. Going down waffle. What's the man talking about?
They bought Havertz.
They went
What's
in
he, a tax write-off? Come on now. They bought Havertz. Everybody knows, and perhaps they don't want to say it. Why would you spend £65 million on a project of being able to get something from Havertz that everyone else hasn't been able to get, when you clearly know that to win the competition that you're participating in, which ultimately is to be challenging for the Premier League, you needed goals.
Yeah,
And you didn't have it. So
yes.
it's on Arteta that.
Yeah, well, of course he makes the decisions, but I think he's big enough to make them. I mean,
Oh, that's good.
we've already seen him make a lot of big decisions. Ozil, Aubameyang.
You didn't agree with them, though, did you?
People, I think there's only one or two players that are still
But you might
there,
didn't agree with
and they're
them
the
at the
kids. They're the kids, Martinelli and Saka. They're the players that are still at the club, and they're only there on performance. Everybody else is gone. This is a rebuilding now. This is very much
you were
his
at your
team.
height, mate. As an Arsenal invincible, look at the goal threat that team had.
But Jim, look, let's have this conversation at the end of the season, but they're in a critical moment in the season. They have to respond. They cannot
Won't
fall
respond. They're not good
They are
enough.
not out of the race. And let's not start. Let's put people away at the end of the season. Yeah, but not yet, because he's building something now. Havertz had
Building
6
what?
shots to go.
Fake Legoland bricks.
We know
He's
that
shitting
there
it,
should be
mate. He's
more
been
races,
shitting it for
but
4.5
taking
years, this
opportunity.
project.
I'm pretty certain.
Mikel
they're
Arteta,
seeking
Paul
Let's see how they respond.
The
Palace,
bookies have
fake
said
Brendan
that.
Rodgers,
The bookies say it's
Spanish
an awful lot of
Waitrose,
Palace.
waiter.
You said
Oh,
that.
God,
You
you
said
said
that.
yeah,
You
but-
said that.
But that's,
3-1.
but that's a different argument. I mean, if Martin thinks they're in a race, that's deluded. They're so far behind in the race, people marking because they think they're winning. Look, the bottom line is that
They're 5 points
beating
behind.
Palace, yeah, but if you look at this, if you look at the performance of Arsenal, yes, it's wonderful that they build up play. That's called a faux cup with no knickers. It's wonderful they've got loads of build up play, but they can't.
There's a lot of clubs would be happy with the way their approach play.
And that's fantastic. But we're not
not less than-
judging. We're
not
not
less
judging
than
Arsenal.
Palace,
We're not
by the
judging. Yeah, but you want to compare Arsenal to Palace? You want that conversation?
Well,
Don't be
do
silly.
they spend
You
money
compare
on
Arsenal to Man United, to Manchester City or Liverpool, not Arsenal to Palace. Will Arsenal beat Palace on Saturday? Yeah. And should they beat Arsenal on Saturday? Should they beat Palace on Saturday? Yeah. What's the big deal about that? We're not talking about beating
It's
Palace.
important.
We're
It's
talking about
important
beating
they
the
win.
bigger
If they
guys.
don't win, it's over, isn't it? At the weekend.
Well,
It's
really?
that big for
It's
us.
only 23 games into the season.
You're
Let's
saying
not
it's
write them
already,
off now.
you're
Martin.
saying it's already over.
Tick tock, tick tock. There's lots
You're
of
saying
time
it's
to
already.
go.
Are you saying it's over for Arsenal?
Done. Not good
Well,
enough.
let's see then.
Stand still.
Let's see.
At
It's up to the
best.
players. Look, I don't play anymore, but that would be great motivation.
I'm
for
just
me.
saying.
Not that I'd be listening to you, by the way. But as a player, I'd have enough motivation to want to win for myself.
If you were on the radio, I wouldn't listen to
Don't
you.
blame him.
Do you know, back in the day, it's interesting. I didn't even listen. I didn't buy Sky. I didn't have Sky
Because you're too cheap.
because Andy Gray was having a go every time I played. So my dad said, "Don't watch it."
Because you
Don't
probably
listen.
wanted it for free.
Not at all. Not at all. So I never saw Jim. I do all those transfer window days you
You
did.
never saw me.
I'm sorry, but yeah, dressed in yellow silly ties. I never saw any of it.
Exactly
Oh,
right.
I tell you
Silly
what.
advertise.
But Martin, you are saying, and I think I'm picking you up on what you just said. If Arsenal were to lose to Palace, if somehow that was to happen, it's over.
Not out of the Champions League race, but they're out of winning the title because look at City last weekend. And by the way, no one said it, but Pep was quite brilliant. He was sitting there wrestling with putting De Bruyne on, and it took until what 72nd minute when he went right. You know what? Let's play. Let's introduce him. And that timing of his decision making, and then Bob coming on as well,
Yeah.
quite magnificent.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed. I shared in the joy of watching Man City. I didn't enjoy the 5
He's
trophies.
deflecting away from the
I
central
didn't
thing,
enjoy.
which
I
is
didn't
Arsenal.
enjoy the 5 trophies, but no, because that's the benchmark. That's
Right.
the team that everybody's got to go
But you
after.
shared the
So let's
City's
watch
joy.
them. Look how
Okay.
they managed to respond with De Bruyne off the bench. Quite magnificent. Let's say it. We don't talk
Because he's a
enough
good
about
player,
Man
that's
City.
why.
Okay. So I've gone
Does
3-1.
anyone ever compliment Man City on what they do?
Martin,
Yeah, all the
Not
time.
you.
I've gone
all the
3-1
time.
Arsenal to beat Palace 2-1. What would your take be? Am I in
I've already
the
told
same?
you.
Are you in the same territory?
I've already told you it's only 1 win in 9 for Palace. It has to be an Arsenal win. If you don't win, then they're not going to win the
But
Premier
we
League.
rested
It's over.
Eze midweek, so we've got a better chance.
Better
Oh,
chance.
what's this wee bit now? You're a Palace
Okay.
fan again.
I've always been a Palace fan.
I like
That's the
that.
reason I wrote checks out rather than took money out of football.
Okay, Arsenal against Crystal Palace, and it's a massive one for both. It's a Talksport exclusive, 12:30. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, and Martin Keown, who never listened to the radio but listens to it now because he's on it.